But actually, I guess what people are curious about these days is agoraphobia. So can you just kind of explain, just in a broad sense, what is agoraphobia?
Yeah. So agoraphobia is essentially, it's a phobia, right? So it's an anxiety or a fear around, it's not exactly like leaving your home, but it's basically just a fear of large spaces or large crowds.
Oh,
It
okay.
can be, so it can be everything from crowded places to enclosed places to large expansive places. It's just basically this idea that fear kind of begins to overtake you. It oftentimes happens comorbidly with panic attacks, but essentially a person has a panic attack and then they're kind of and the kind of the definition of a panic attack is like the fear of fear, right? It's the being afraid of their own fear and being overtaken by that. And when that happens once, it can make you kind of afraid to do anything to trigger it again. And so essentially there's this idea that like home is safe and it's one of the
Mm.
only places that I can really feel safe. And so when it gets really extreme, people become almost like just completely homebound, and will be afraid to do anything. And it's interesting that this topic is trending right now because I'm thinking about the way that this relates to COVID, right? We've
Yeah.
all been home. We've all felt safe at home, right? That's what everyone's been telling us. That's what media tells us. That's what everybody tells us,
That's
right?
true.
Like, stay home. That's where you're safe, and anywhere else that you go, you could, catch this deadly virus, right? And so it makes a lot of sense that this is a topic that, like, man, what have we internalized in the last 2 years that we've been going through this pandemic,
Yeah.
right? That we believe that out there is not safe. It just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that this is even a trending topic right now. It makes a lot of sense, but I just think, oh, Lord, we just need just to restore a sense of safety to our bodies.
No, I really appreciate that. I feel like that restoration process is just so important. So
Yeah.
if someone's trying to, like, they're not sure they might have agoraphobia or not, what are the symptoms to kind of look out for? I mean, besides not wanting to leave your home, although be honest, sometimes I don't want to leave my home and it's just
Yeah.
because it's just comfortable. But yeah, what
Right.
are some of the symptoms to like look for in yourself?
Sure. Yeah, you bring up a great point. Like, what's the difference between this and like just being a homebody? Like, I just love to stay home. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like going out in big crowded places, and I don't have that much patience. And just like that's a very different kind of thing than agoraphobia. So, yeah, you make a good point there. But I would say that if you are noticing things like heart palpitations, so basically just
Okay.
anxiety in your body, like big anxiety in your body. So what that's going to feel like is your heart is kind of beating out of your chest, right? Your palms are sweaty, that you're noticing your thoughts are racing, specifically racing about being in danger or something bad happening due to the place that you are or the crowds that you're in. And really also an avoidance of going to those places. So like, I don't want to leave home alone. If you don't want to leave home by yourself, or you can't go to, the grocery store without someone coming with you, like that's going to be a sign that this agoraphobia might be, this might be applicable to you. Yeah, so it's really going to be those kind of the way that fear and anxiety registers in the body. You're going to be feeling a lot of that, and specifically about physical places is really kind of the attachment. Yeah.
No, that makes a lot more sense. So what can someone do if they have agoraphobia? Like, what are the treatment options they can even like to help get them back out in the world?
Sure. So what's happening, and to answer that question, I'll tell you a little bit about kind of what's happening in the brain, is that you have a smoke detector in your brain that's called the amygdala, and it's constantly scanning your environment for a threat. And this has been in terms of, our evolution and survival as a species has been clutch for us, right? Because if we can find danger in the environment, then we can avoid it. And so the idea is that, your brain, your amygdala is registering a threat in the environment. But there is not an actual threat, right? It's what we call a perceived threat, right? And so what we have to do is we have to help you to feel safe in your own body, and we have to turn off that amygdala response, that smoke detector, right? And the way that we do that is we can do that through breathing techniques and relaxation. We can do that through just like kind of mindful meditation exercise. We're going to do that at MCO, we use something called accelerated experiential psychodynamic therapy, AEDP. And And so what we do using AADP is we will use the imagination to work healing. And so what that can mean is, can you imagine being in that place, right? And then and in my imagination, I'm in that place, but my body is physically in the session with my therapist.
Okay.
And so I'm working to calm the physical body, right? Physiologically bring calm to the body while also imagining this kind of scary place. And it's helping to kind of reteach and retrain my nervous system that it's safe in those kinds of spaces. And so that's what I would do kind of as a therapist, is to kind of work to relax the body, and specifically when it's triggered, and working with the places that it gets triggered.
No, that sounds amazing that we can eat that this new therapy. I don't know how new it is, but the therapy can be used to like you said, like just really start giving people tools to kind of process what would happen if they're faced with like these fears. So very neat. Thank you for bringing that like knowledge and everything to like this trending topic. And makes it kind of, you talked about like COVID has brought out another side of people, like a lot of mental health issues that maybe people just didn't even realize were there to begin with. So